I thank the member for Lyons and call the member for Moreton.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Last night the Treasurer delivered the Turnbull budget, purporting it to be a plan for jobs and growth, but it's really a plan for cuts and unfairness. It delivers tax cuts for the banks and multinationals at the expense of Australian families, particularly those in Moreton. It is a Liberal budget to its core. Cuts to schools, cuts to Medicare, cuts to families that will increase their cost of living, cuts to higher education,
Order, please,
cuts
members.
to veterans' hospitals, a GP tax by stealth, tax breaks for banks and multinationals. For families in Moreton, this will mean that a couple on single income of $87,000 with 2 children in primary school will be nearly $2,500 worse off. A sole parent with income of $65,000 and 2 children in high school, nearly $5,000 worse off. A couple with an income of $50,000 each and 2 children in high school, over $2,500 worse off each year. A couple with an income of $90,000 and 3 children in primary school, nearly $3,000 worse off each year, while millionaires will receive 2 tax cuts and be $16,715 better off each year.
Members,
the top 10% of
members.
income earners are getting the vast majority of the Turnbull government's tax cuts. In fact, politicians will get a tax cut, while 75% of Australians are getting none at all. Surely a sign that the Treasurer has got it horribly wrong. Pensioners in Moreton will be hundreds of dollars worse off each year due to Mr Turnbull's budget. Single pensioners will be $366 a year worse off. Couples, $550 a year worse off. And we've done that despite the tripling of the budget as announced by Treasurer Morrison. This budget is looking after the big end of town while cutting payments to families, pensioners, schools and hospitals. So desperate is Mr Turnbull to give a tax cut to the top end of town, he's even changed the definition of a small business. This budget puts big business and high-income earners before families. It is an un-Australian budget. This budget does nothing to set Australia up for the future. In fact, this budget will undermine our egalitarian future at a time when wages growth is the lowest it's been since they've been recording wages increases, and also we're becoming a more unequal society. The President of the AMA, not exactly a friend of the Labor Party, Professor Brian Owler, said about this budget, the poorest, the sickest and the most vulnerable will be the hardest hit. Now more than ever, the difference between the Labor Party and the Liberal Party couldn't be any starker. Mr Turnbull and the Liberals will only look after the high-income earners and multinationals, while the Labor Party will do what we've always done. Labor will put the people first.